Hey guys, I'm back with a quick bonus reading of a short document that I discovered in the CIA FOIA section of their website regarding your mind, your consciousness, and the power that it has. This specific document is just it's just a few pages, but I thought you really need to hear it so you can weigh this information with everything else that I've been producing. This particular document is entitled, it's from the Defense Intelligence Agency, and it's entitled Controlled Offensive Behavior in the USSR. Now, this document, it's only a few pages, but wow, it is chock full of information. This was published September 1975. It must only be part of it because it starts with section 3 on page 15, but this is what was published. I assume the rest was redacted. So listen to this. Again, September 1975, section 3, titled Telepathy, aka Energy Transfer in Man. Part A, Classical Theories and Experiments. Over the past 25 years, Soviet scientists have reported that abilities such as extrasensory perception, clairvoyance, and telepathy have been demonstrated in the laboratory under rigorously controlled conditions. Many of these claims have been published in the Soviet technical and popular literature. Just how far the Soviets have really gone in their efforts to learn about the mechanisms of human telepathy is not known. If the Soviet reports are even partly true, and if mind-to-mind thought transference can be used for such applications as interplanetary communications or the guiding of interplanetary spacecraft, the Soviets have accomplished a scientific breakthrough of tremendous significance. For many years, any attempt to study telepathic phenomena was denounced in the Soviet Union as mysticism and idealism. From 1922 to 1959, however, this attitude gradually changed. Official recognition of parapsychology as a legitimate science was prompted to a considerable extent by the party's recognition of other disciplines which had previously been rejected as bougie idealism, such as quantum mechanics, the theory of relativity, and cybernetics. In 1959, Professor L.I. Vasilev published his Mysterious Phenomena of the Human Psyche, followed in 1962 by his Experiments in Mental Suggestion. These two publications caused some surprise among Western scientists, but the possible military implications were apparently overlooked in the West. The first attempt to illustrate the possible military and intelligence impact of Soviet research in telepathy and psychokinesis was published in 1972. The publication of Vasilev's first book in 1959 was followed by the appearance of countless studies by other Soviet researchers and numerous articles in the Soviet periodical press. Soviet parapsychology research gained impetus and sophistication, growing from a single laboratory into a coordinated USSR-wide effort that included laboratories which were also established in the Czechoslovakia. Funds for research, reported at 20 million rubles in 1973, are believed to be primarily from military sources. This high level of support advanced Soviet research on human telepathy far beyond that of the West. And the USSR became the leader in sponsoring and participating in international parapsychology symposiums. Such international meetings have served Soviet interests by allowing them to benefit from Western research. After 1959, large numbers of Soviet scientists began investigating telepathic communication. In 1965, a bioinformation department was formed. The potential applications of focusing mental influences on an enemy through hypnotic telepathy have surely occurred to the Soviets. The bulk of recent telepathy research in the USSR has been concerned with the transmission of emotional or behavioral impulses and the study of physiological responses to PK exercises. PK means psychokinetic. In their exploration of telepathy, they are seeking the eventual capability to produce and to amplify the phenomenon so that control is feasible. Control and manipulation of the human consciousness must be considered a primary goal. Wow. Just wow. we're seeing that right now. We're seeing we're seeing our consciousness being manipulated and controlled right now through media and especially social media. Back to the reading. According to both Soviet and Czech researchers, one major advantage of studying psychotronic generators is the reproducibility of their effects. In addition, they can be activated by nearly anyone, with or without any special psychic abilities. The devices may have other practical applications not related to parapsychology. The Czechs claim that irradiation of seeds with the energy enhances plant growth, and that industrial pollutants have been precipitated out of water by its action. These claims may be open to question, since in 1972, Zdeněk Rejdak, head of the Psychotronic Research Section of the Czechoslovakian Society for Science and Technology, termed the experiments with plants and water, quote, ineffective. A recent newspaper article, quoting Pavlita, reported that his generators could serve as weapons. No further details were given. No information is available on Czech efforts to develop psychotronic weapons, but Pavlita has stated that some forms of his devices can exert both favorable and unfavorable effects on living organisms, including man. In experiments with snails exposed to the energy from a generator, a state similar to hibernation resulted. When flies were placed in the gap of a circular generator, they died instantly. In another test, Pavlita aimed a generator at his daughter's head from a distance of several yards. Her EEG changed. She became dizzy and her equilibrium was disrupted. Side note, they're talking about a psychotronic generator, a machine that has been developed. And I think there's another paper on that. I might go back and read some of that to augment this paper. So I might cut in later on with some more information from a separate paper. But this guy just aimed this thing at his daughter's head. Like, hey, kid, come here. I got a little experiment. Let's learn something today at your expense, no less. Anyway, back to the reading. In their present form and size, Pavlita's devices could probably exert an effect on humans at only relatively short range. It is possible that their size could be enlarged or their energy amplified, thereby extending their range. If the Czech claims for these devices are valid, biological energy might be an effective anti-personnel weapon. It would be difficult to defend against, since it apparently penetrates most common forms of insulation, and its reported effects, like changes in brainwave characteristics, disturbance of equilibrium, and dizziness, could result in personality changes or physical discomfort which might alter combat effectiveness. Soviet or Czech perfection of psychotronic weapons would pose a severe threat to enemy military, embassy, or security functions. Side note, check out what happened in Cuba a few years ago. All the people at the United States Embassy in Cuba started getting sick. They started getting headaches. They started getting dizzy. If you look up that story, it will tell you that these types of weapons were admittedly used against the United States staff at the embassy in Cuba. Back to the reading. Soviet or Czech perfection of psychotronic weapons would pose a severe threat to enemy military, embassy, or security functions. The emitted energy would be silent and difficult to detect electronically, although the Soviets claimed to have developed effective biological energy sensors. And the only power source required would be the human operator. Conclusion. Soviet and Czechoslovakian researchers have accepted the reality of paranormal events and are primarily concerned with the formulation of a unified theory to describe the basic transformations involved. The Soviet emphasis on the electrostatic and electromagnetic components of the energy may play an important role in the final determination of the nature of psychical phenomena. This emphasis on energetics or interaction effects has led to the concept that man must be investigated as a complete, integrated unit. Whoa. Soviet and Czech psychotronic research will eventually be applied to human problems. As this occurs, the question will arise under this knowledge, and the equipment developed will be used for the enhancement of human freedom and social development, or for regimentation and enslavement. Wow. Psychotronics could conceivably play a role in contributing to the survival of the human species by emphasizing the interconnections between all living beings. It should help to reduce human aggressive tendencies. By the same token, it could also be applied to increase such aggressive tendencies, and it has powerful potential for use as an effective weapon against groups of men and key leaders. The Czechs claim that a direct transfer of biological energy from healthy to diseased or injured muscle is not only possible, but proven. The Soviets do not restrict the possibility of such energy transfer to any one physiological system, but state that biological energy transfer can be utilized to relieve human functional disorders of the nervous system, the internal organs, and the mind. In all cases, such medical applications of biological energy transfer are officially described as having beneficial results, but this may not necessarily be true. By analogy, conventional medical techniques can be beneficial, but when misapplied can cause serious damage or even death. By the same token, there can also be psychic malpractice, although the Soviets and Czechs are not likely to publicize this fact. Both Czech and U.S. researchers have described Robert Pavlita's work with psychotronic generators as possibly the most important contemporary development in the field of parapsychology, and as a major contribution to the deeper understanding, mastery, and utilization of biological energy for human advantage. Just as in the example of direct transfer of biological energy for medical purposes, the use of such devices is not... Oh, and they stopped it right there. They stopped it. That's the end of the document. Well, I think we got enough of it to at least get our wheels turning. That's all my goal ever is with these recordings, is just to get your wheels turning. There is no perfect place for you to land. Each of our experiences is subjective. Each of our goals and our missions here are subjective. The information that comes to you will come to you when you are ready to receive it. I just want you to think. I want you to consider that everything that you knew, that you were taught, or that you thought you knew about this reality is false. That you are an infinite, psychic, psychotronic generating, badass piece of high-tech DNA technology. You are more than just a human. You are not, quote, only human. You can't qualify a human using the term only. That is foolishness. And our governments and military entities have known about this, and they use this against us. He actually, if you go back and read the quote, he says, as this occurs, the question will arise whether this knowledge and the equipment developed will be used for the enhancement of human freedom and social development, or for the regimentation and enslavement. Do you realize what I'm telling you? Technology has been being utilized against you. It's time to stop. It's time to stop it and take control back.